What up, brothers? It's Clip King returning for a little bit of a different video. It's only going to be short. I just wanted to show you guys the set of figures that I've been loving over the last couple of weeks. Been spending a bit of time of getting some photos, getting plenty of video footage, including the review. Just keep reposing them and like setting them up with the different accessories. And like I say, it is an awesome set. It scored very well on the review. If you've not watched that, please check it out. It didn't get a lot of views. I didn't really expect it to, because it's not Hot Toys superhero, but it is an awesome looking set. I'd be really happy actually for the custom collectors to tell me their thoughts on this set, because I think this is going to be a custom collector friendly set, because it's sort of along the movie lines for the what them guys sort of go for. So I really would like some feedback from something like a Stiff Richards or Magnus, someone like that. Just tell me what their thoughts are on this set. Like I said, I know they don't collect what they class as mass production figures, which these are, but I think it actually dips one toe in sort of the more custom market. But anyway, like I said, I'd like some feedback like that. What I really want to show in this video is the fur coat on the fur coat jacket version. Other night actually, I was looking at the jacket, which I really like. The choice of materials is really good. It's iconic to the scene where it reveals that the narrator and Tyler Durden are one and the same. It's a key scene from the film, but when I was watching that scene, I realised the coat, not only is it a little bit off colour, because I think in the film it's a bit darker than it is on the figure also looks a little bit too fluffy, a little bit too soft. And also I noticed that the sort of the toggles or the loops where the toggles would go, they're a little bit hidden by the length of the fur, and also on the wrist section of the coat, it's a little bit too furry out the box. So what I did is, also the collar as well doesn't sit right straight out the box, or doesn't sit accurate to the film. So I just did a little bit of a fix. I'm going to talk you through that, and also just something I've done today, because the hair on the Tyler Durden is a little bit dark out the box. I do concede that, although I can't ever really see myself sending it off to be repainted. I just come up with a really easy temporary fix just to lighten the top section of the hair, give it that frosted look that Brad Pitt has in the film. And I'll also tell you that it's very easy to do, and like I say, it's by no means permanent. It just will brush straight out. So basically with the fur jacket version, what I did is I realised that they'd stitched the corner of the collar, they'd stitched it in place, and also at the back centre of the collar they'd stitched it in place. So I thought it don't quite sit right, and it sort of drowns out the head sculpt because it's too fluffy around his head. So basically what I did is I got some really sharp scissors, I cut off the thread, so now my jacket collar would actually stand right up. Now obviously that's not accurate to the film, so I never wanted that to be the case, but I just want to show that mine will do that. But basically what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring the collar over further so it's more movie accurate, and then I wanted to fix the collar in place by using product. By product I mean basically air product, which I'll show you how I did. But just to talk about what I did, like I said, I cut the thread that were in there. There were one in there and one at the back centre of the collar, so I did that. Next thing I did, I put it in a sink full of boiling hot water, simply because the fur were full of static, and I thought if I put water through it, that's going to wash some of that out. So I did that. While it were damp as well, because again these sort of toggle loops, they were drowned out by the fur, and it was sort of more positioned like that. You couldn't see the toggle, and I thought, well, in that scene you do see them really clearly. So what I did, I brushed the fur all the way over across the centre of the coat, as you can see, and then I took some scissors and actually trimmed it like I was doing an haircut, so to speak. So along the line of where the coat ends, the fur now on mine is pretty short, although there you see it's quite long. So I trimmed down there, obviously careful not to cut the loops off. So I did that. Same thing on the end of the sleeve, sort of brushed it down so it's straight in my hand, and then cut into it so it takes the length off, and again the fur doesn't drown out the hand. While the coat was soaking wet, I thought, right, now I need to pose it on the figure so it looks how I want it to look, which is pretty much open and will stay in place. So At the beginning of this video, the coat were kind of like that. That's because I give it the water treatment. Now, anybody who doesn't know what the water treatment is you basically wet out your fabrics or your capes or whatever. You then put them back on the figure and allow them to dry naturally once you've positioned them how you want them to be. So my coat will always stay slightly open because that is how it's dried on the figure. Now, next thing I did, like I said, just stood it on a windowsill above a radiator, let it dry overnight. So the coat will then bone dry it next morning, but it still sits to his legs quite nicely. You can see the toggle loops, and I positioned it as it will. Obviously I can repose it because nothing that I've done has been detrimental really. It can be reposed, it can be wet again, but also, like I said, it took a lot of static out of the fur. Now then, the most telling sign, and to keep it posed well, what I did is, like I said at the beginning, I put some product through it. Now, I don't know if you guys know this in America, but you'll certainly know it in UK, Got To Be, which is pretty much canned glue. It's hairspray, but you've got to have thick hair to even use it because it's very, very strong. Now, I didn't just blast it because obviously I don't want to get this on the head sculpt or on the other clothing. I really want it on the collar, a little bit down the arms and onto the sleeves. Now, the way I did that is basically like this. Sprayed it into the palm of my hand, like that. So I've got a little pool of this fucking fine glue. And then, with my thumb, I go back to the figure and I brush it and brush the fur back. You can use this for Chewbacca. That's why I knew it would work for this. So you're basically controlling where you brush it. Now what you'll find is it sets on the fur. You can position the fur while it's still damp, and then it will set pretty much rock hard. So you could do it anywhere you want on the coat. Like I say, twist it through if you want to get a clump section. So like down here, if I wanted to, I don't know, have a section that points in a certain way, like I've done there on the sleeve, and I'll let it dry. Let it dry on the figure, and that will then, my fur now feels like matted hair. Like, you know when you do your hair, you're going out and it feels hard because it's got the glue in it. That is how my collar in particular feels. If I turn it round, again you'll see the jagged edge on the coat. On the back, obviously, it's not going to really affect it, so you can get a little mist in and then just sort of brush through the fur like so, make it look very natural. Right, so this next one is proper gangster pimping. This is old school rules. Right, so the red jacket version, the air, a little bit dark out of the box. You've got options. You can either try and paint it yourself, but obviously you want to do a good job, or you can send it off to a painter. It's going to cost you a lot of money. Or if you just want a temporary fix because you display it under bright lights like I do, something really simple that you can try. In fact, you might as well try it and see what you think. You can see, looking at the air, looks a little bit lighter than in the box. Basically just something to catch the light. We all have in his house just talcum powder, and the best way to do it, I find, put a little patch on, subtle brush, get some on thing, and then you can just try this left-handed. You just brush it into the air so it go into the recesses. And then, like I said, just keep going and add as much or as little as you want up the front. Like I said, from a distance, it catches the light like that. Is the impression that his hair is a lot blonder on top, simply because it's just got the sort of flakes of the talcum powder in the grooves of his hair. Very simple to do. Like I say, might be worth a try. Some of you might not want to do it and opt to have it repainted, but I like the fact that I could just wet it and get it straight back to stock. Like I said, you're not going to hurt your figure at all. Don't go mental because it's going to look like he's got an air full of dust. But it definitely does work. And like I said, it's free if you've got talc in your house, and it's very easy to do. So, like I said, loving this set. Both figures, must have set in my mind. Both look awesome. For now, this is Clipper King, and I'm out of here.